Welcome to the Buck and Mike experience.
Experience sports like you never have before.
Where the buck stops.
And the mic drops.
Bam.
Bam.
God, I get so proud of us when we do that. Just our
I
flawlessness.
was a little worried at first, and then he just kind of floated with that. I was like, okay.
It's become so second nature for us. And even with breaks, like we're just like, yeah, whatever. I'm going to go ahead, before we even get anything, I'm going to lead with, I'm still trying to fix the Spotify issue. So right now we're still only coming up on YouTube. Tonight I'm going to try transferring the video feed to my computer and seeing if I can upload it that way. But the new app, the company bought out the company that Anchor, and now Spotify owns them, and they force you to use the app, but the video won't load from the app. So just a heads up for our Spotify people that aren't going to hear this until I'm back on Spotify. We're working on it.
Yeah, that is kind of rough, and that does kind of suck for them.
Wanted to go ahead and get that in and out of the way real quick. So other than that, how are you today, sir?
Good. It's a good day.
It is a good day.
It's a really good
day.
day.
Basically Christmas. Let's be honest. This is guys' Christmas.
Yeah.
We wait all year for tomorrow.
We got football tomorrow.
We have NFL football tomorrow. We got football Saturday. The question is, which football are we going to go into first here? Because we had some exciting football last weekend that's really leading into it. So do we want to go big boys or little boys first?
Let's go ahead and do the big boys.
We're going to go right into the big boys.
Stick right with the big boys.
All right, so then let's hear it.
All right, so before we start talking about all this, I want to kind of get our predictions of where we think that the conference is going to end up at, who's going to be winning it, who we think is going to be MVP, offensive, defensive player of the year, some rookies. So I feel like me and you might have this same answer on MVP. I'm going with Patty Cakes.
You are?
Yeah.
I'm about to shock it with my
I thought about going Herbert, but I went with Patty Cakes.
All right. I'm shocking it.
You're going with two, ain't you?
I'm actually surprised we went MVP first. I was kind of hoping we were going to go like Rookie of the Years and then work backwards.
But
if we are going to go straight to the big one, Sunshine for MVP.
Wow.
Jags win.
We should have saved that for the end.
Jags win 13 games behind one of the better coaches in the AFC, softer division. I think Trevor Lawrence in year 3 takes the jump. I'm saying 4,800 yards. I think he's got the mobility to run for 500 or 600 yards himself.
Okay.
I'm going to say single-digit interceptions for the season, loaded with weapons around him. It's there.
Absolutely loaded.
Loaded with weapons. Their problem's going to be their defense. I think that defense and inexperience will come into play in the playoffs. That's what I think will hold them back from, a conference title or anything like that. 2025 Super Bowl, Jags are on watch. I'm putting it right there. But right now, I think that Trevor Lawrence takes advantage of the soft division, great coaching, offensive system around him, and the NFL plays the we don't want the same guy to win the MVP award every year thing, and Trevor Lawrence gets that nod.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And like I said, I thought about going with Herbert just because
I can see that
there's a new offensive coordinator in town, in Kellen Moore, and that offense in Dallas. They love to throw, and they love to throw a lot. So with the weapons that he has now, especially with Quentin Johnston adding to the mix, there's just enough there to where you can kind of make that argument, but it's hard not to make the argument.
Well,
that's not Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly. It's hard not to say Patty Mahomes. On your Herbert point, I will say I think the best thing about adding Quentin Johnston is that Keenan Allen's a guy that gets banged up. Mm-hmm. Mike Williams is getting older, and he's a guy that gets banged up. I liked, it's not Reynolds. I'm going to remember his name here in a second. Josh Palmer. I like Josh Palmer. Yeah, I think he was a sneaky quality ball player. Yep. I didn't like the Quentin Johnston pick because I like Josh Palmer. But that said, if you have some banged up guys, the fact that you can run out what I think are starter qualities potentially as your third and fourth if guys are banged up, it constantly gives Herbert the ability to have guys.
Yes.
So I do think that
100%.
I can see where that comes in. Like you said, it's going to be a high passing offense. I think Gerald Everett's going to benefit.
I think he will too.
I think Gerald Everett could be a guy that we're looking at going, well, hell, there's 795 yards and 12 touchdowns because he catches a bunch of crappy short ones in the end zone. Dalton Schultz killed it. Exactly. I think that, like you said, I just don't, especially when you look at this year. Now we're saying that Mahomes is going to go without Kelsey for sure week 1. I don't think he's playing week 1.
No, he's not going to play.
Even with
But
the
he'll be fine
extended
the rest.
day off, I think if they beat the Lions, though, they win week 1. I don't know if they play week 2, but I don't push the envelope. I think Kelsey's too important. So if your offense looks okay without him week 1, I don't push the envelope. I'll give him an extra week. He's too important to that team.
No, I 100% agree. Like, if this happened earlier in the week, or if they didn't play on Thursday and they played further on, they play the Jaguars next week.
Which is, that's another, I mean, it's good competition. Good
on Sunday.
They got both my sleeper love teams there.
So, yeah, with it being on Thursday and it happening on Tuesday, like the safe thing to do and the smart thing to do is to not play him.
Even, I think that if you love, as much as all the reports that they've loved, all these young kids they have at Weapons Outside, I honestly stand by the thought that I think you give him 2 weeks. I wouldn't even play him week 2. It's not a divisional game. You've proven that you can win, you can make the run.
Yeah.
He's 34 years old now, Travis Kelce is, and he's still playing at an elite level. Like, I would protect his body and know that he's healthy. He doesn't need the reps with Mahomes. The chemistry is not an issue. They can wake up and piss excellence together.
Yeah.
Like,
all right. So that's something we could probably talk about a little bit more.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the rookies then, since it
yeah.
probably should have been the way that we worked this was the rookies and then the offensive, defensive players and then MVP.
Well,
but
if we're gonna get the MVP,
we'll start from the top and then
right?
And then we'll work with the rookies and go back
All
to
right. Gotcha then. Let's do it.
All right, so we're not going to talk about offensive rookie. Let's go with defensive rookie of the year. Now, I've seen a few names thrown around, but to be honest, it's difficult for me not to pick Will Anderson because I think Will Anderson will do pretty good.
I can see that. I wrote him down.
Jalen Carter was another one that I kind of felt like he could do okay, but as we were talking about earlier, the reason why I didn't was rookie defensive tackles usually struggle for at least a year. Like it's going to take
get their
them
feet wet and get comfortable.
So I think Will Anderson or one of the cornerbacks has the best shot. So I think Will Anderson could probably get at least like 5 to 10 sacks somewhere in there and end up winning rookie of the year.
I'm actually going with Jack Campbell, linebacker for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of the biggest issues last season for the Lions was a sure tackler. Jack Campbell, that is the one thing we know he is. He is a
100%.
true form wrap-up tackler. He could easily go into the middle of the lines. We've seen him already show really good flashes in the preseason. You could easily see him jumping into that Lions defense in the middle of the field and racking up 100-plus tackles.
If he can get he doesn't have a start.
He doesn't have a what?
He's not a starter.
Well, I don't know. I think that I still think that's early in the season. That can change. I think he'll see plenty of reps. You don't pick him in the first round without having the plan to get him on the field.
Oh yeah.
And
you know what? No. So ESPN has him as a starter, but the Lions.com only has 2 linebackers showing as starters.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think that it'll slowly, like he might, racking a sack here or there, 2, 3 maybe.
Yeah, I thought Jack Campbell was the second rounder.
Was he? I know he was an early enough rounder that I felt like his preseason production was well. The defense was the issue for that team. I think that
he was first rounder.
Yeah, okay.
Pick 18.
So I don't know. I'm gonna go with him. I think that he racks up over 100 tackles, and that alone gets him that nod.
Okay, and we're just going to go ahead and say it at the count of 3.
Yeah,
1, 2,
sure
3. Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Sheer volume. I tried to kick the tires of
I didn't.
I mean, who could be second?
Gibbs.
I mean, is it Gibbs or I thought maybe an Addison Russell being the third option in that offense though.
Jordan Addison.
Jordan Addison, I really like him. I think there's no pressure to be the best guy for him. He just has to show up and
But he's just going to have to deal with getting
targets. But I think that I also still think they're going to see them throw the ball enough because I don't think their running back situation. I think that's crap.
No.
I think their
if
best
you
running
drafted
back.
Madison, I'm sorry, but
I think Ty Chandler's going to end up taking Madison's job anyway.
I wouldn't be shocked.
And
I wouldn't be shocked if they made a trade for someone else.
Yeah. I'm honestly surprised we didn't hear their name linked to the Jonathan Taylor discussion.
Because they just got rid of Dalvin Cook and they're sitting on his contract.
True.
So if they're going to be getting someone, it's going to be someone with a lower price. Because getting him, you have to give him the money because that's what the
you're gonna have to pay him.
whole deal is. Yeah.
You got a Kareem Hunt as a free agent too, but I mean that's a team that I just think that's their issue. I think that third option. I think you could easily see 1,000 yards out of Hawkinson, and we know Jefferson's going to get it. So
let's look. There is running backs. Yeah, Kenyon. Not Kenyon. Kareem Hunt. David Johnson is out there. Damian Williams. That's about it.
Yeah, it's just not a lot. The only one I think that could come in and actually help you win a game would be Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
Like, he's the only one that brings any upside. And he's just being picky. Like, he's had 4 or 5 offers, I think they said. He just hadn't signed. So, all right. So now we go to the big boys' player of the years.
Defensive player of the year. This year, he's getting it. He is getting it this year.
I think we're going to say the same person.
Michael Parsons.
I did too. I put Michael Parsons. And I put Michael Parsons on the fact that this is the season that he becomes contract eligible, extension eligible, and he just saw Nick Bosa.
He's not even. He's not. He said he wasn't even worried about what he made. He's more worried about how good he did. He wants to be better than what he did.
Yeah. Well, I think
he's focused on just being a better player than
Parsons is a half step away from going from like 17 sacks to like 30. Like, he's literally been that close. So
He really has.
I think he's gonna get it. I think he's gonna have. I think he also might lead the league in forced fumbles. I have this weird feeling that he's about to just go. I'm thinking like 7 strip sacks. Like,
dang. Okay.
I mean, he goes for it. He goes for the hard hit, or he keeps a hand at the ball. So he's a guy that could do it. So.
All right. So now the non-quarterback award.
All right.
Offensive player of the year.
Yeah, exactly. I made sure to not go quarterback here. I'll go first on it. I'm taking Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
I'm going to do it. On the caveat that Tua stays healthy. If Tua plays 15 games of 17, Tyreek Hill legitimately could push the envelope of 2,000 yards. He was pacing it last season.
He was very close last year.
Exactly. He was pacing it last season before everything went to crap with Tua. He 100%, in my opinion, easily goes for 1,800 yards, and I think that we see an uptick in the touchdown number this year because that wasn't a strong suit at the start of the year for him. So I easily see 1,810 scores.
Okay. Mine is a receiver as well because this is typically what a receiver award.
It really has become that. There's not been a running back that can, because they're sharing it, that can win anymore.
Yeah, it's very difficult to see a running back win this now. I think the last one was Adrian Peterson.
I was going to say, the only other one that I could even think that'll see...
I think that's the last MVP, too.
The only one I think could see the volume, and I just don't think his team will be good enough for it, when it's still Derrick Henry. Like, Derrick Henry will still be force-fed the touches to do it if he can hold up.
All right, well, mine is a Jamar Chase.
Okay.
I believe that the Bengals are going to force-feed him a lot more. T is still going to get everything that he normally gets, but
exactly.
But Jamar Chase I think is going to take another level, and it sucks that I don't have him on any of my fantasy
I have
games.
him on like 5.
But I do believe he's going to take an uptick this year, and we're going to basically look at him and go, oh, well, I saw what Justin Jefferson did last year, but Chase just topped that.
The only reason I think that Chase can top Jefferson in that category is the athleticism and the quarterback play.
Yes.
I think Justin
Don't
Jefferson...
be sleeping on Kirk Cousins,
No,
man.
because you know I love Kirk Cousins, but I just don't think Kirk Cousins has the arm talent that a Joe Burrow has, or even, I really don't know that he has necessarily. Sometimes when Tua's on it, he's got it. Like, we've seen he has skill.
Yeah.
I don't know that Kirk Cousins even has that because of... One of it is because of the lack of a running game. I think that's going to really hurt Kirk Cousins. I think it's going to hurt Jefferson because you always can stay back on the box. You don't have to worry about the run. So I think Jefferson will still be Justin Jefferson, but I think you're right. It's just, he's still, in my opinion, will be the best receiver, but I don't think he wins the award.
Yeah. And they probably just won't give it to him because he got it last year.
Also true. It's kind of like the NBA doesn't like to give the MVP to the same person.
Kind of like how I voted for Mahomes. Okay, so now we're going to look at the conferences, and yes, we are going to skip the NFC East until last. We are also going to skip the AFC East until last.
Good, because those are hard ones.
Yeah, because those are both the conferences that both our teams are in, the Cowboys and the Dolphins. So I figured we would just go ahead and skip those and save those for the end. Let's do the two easiest. I don't know.
So my first question is, are we going at trying to figure out who we think is going to win each division? Is that how we're starting this
each
out?
division.
All right.
Yeah.
So are we going to start?
So
I say we go
not conference.
wise.
Sorry, not conference. Just division.
Oh, each
Like so,
division.
division and then Super Bowl, and that's it. Like we don't have to go through conference and all that. Just
Oh man, because the journey through the conference could change
Yeah.
12 times while I do this.
exactly. That's why I was
All
just
right.
like,
So
skip
do we
all
wanna
that and just
Start in the AFC or the NFC then?
All right. Well, we'll do basic 3 and 3 because we're going to skip the
Gotcha. Okay.
the East. So I guess let's go ahead and start with the AFC. And where do you want to start at?
Screw it. Let's have some fun. Let's go with the North.
Let's go with the North. Okay.
The North is so deep.
It's very deep.
We will lean to the Bengals because they've proven the last couple of years they're good, but we've got to remember, what was it, 5 years ago that nobody won the division 2 times in a row? Very Cowboys NFC East like where no one won that division consecutive years. You've got the Ravens remaking their offense. The Browns have all the talent of anybody. It's just coaching and it's going to come down to coaching and Deshaun Watson.
To me, defense also. Like the defense is not there anymore.
Really?
Like,
you
it
don't
was
think it is?
like
I think their
other
pass
than
rush is
Garrett,
there.
but like it's just I don't know.
Zadarius?
It's good. It's just not. When you look at the other defenses,
Yeah.
you're like, it's like a top 12.
I think they have
But they're 12.
Yeah, I think they have the best running back in the league. I
can agree with that.
I think they have the best running back in the league. I don't think Cooper's a bad receiver. I think DPJ is slept on, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Elijah Moore, we saw in his first rookie year, has skill. The weapons
I
are
picked
there.
him up in so many leagues
Yeah,
to make sure because I've heard so much out of camp on him that I was like, I have to have him on my team just in case he ends up tearing it up.
I think the thing that
I'll take that back about their defense.
Let's say their pass rush is good. You got Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith on the other side.
And then they also picked up Dalvin Tomlinson on the interior.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. I'll take that back a little bit.
I think it all comes down to coaching and Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun Watson is pre-massage Deshaun Watson, like we forget Deshaun Watson prior to massage table incidents was an MVP candidate. Like he was on pace to be Mahomes. Like
right.
And so I mean, and the Steelers, like Kenny Pickett might have had the best preseason of anybody that played football. Sophomore slump could be an issue, but he looked really good.
The problem with a sophomore slump is usually it's because it's a young quarterback. He's going to be 26 years old.
Exactly. He's
like
older.
He's kind of already hit that area to where he's just not really plateauing, but he's already on that upside to where he's going to plateau at.
And you have what might be one of the best coaches in the history of the league on your sideline.
Yeah.
You've got George Pickens that guy could be taking the step too. That dude's got some crazy upside.
He's that dude this year.
Yeah,
he's
got it. Deontay Johnson is not a bad ball player at all. I mean, Allen Robinson's washed, but he's gonna stand there as a name.
Yeah.
Freiermuth's not a bad player. I absolutely hate him, but the safety, former Dolphin Minka Fitzpatrick, I hate that guy.
Yeah.
You've got T.J. Watt. I mean, there's just
it's a
the division as a whole
is very
stupid
tough.
good. Honestly, I think the Bengals have the best offense by far, but their defense is what keeps them even being close in a race.
You know, their defense is actually like if they can just keep guys healthy, because that was their issue is they kept having their defensive tackles, B.J. Hill and D.J. Reader.
Yeah.
Both of those kept getting injured.
And they lost a safety in free agency this season.
Yeah, but they drafted Jordan Battle.
Yeah.
And they actually... Oh, and they drafted Daxton Hill last year. So,
yeah,
like, they basically worked on replacing that already.
They were
ready.
So, I will still lean to the Bengals largely on Burrow. I think that if it's with as close as everything is, I think they have a good coach and they have a Joe Burrow. He's that good. So
I'm just gonna be honest. I'm the same way. I thought about the Ravens at one point, and
I did too.
It was stuck to me. It's basically not a 3-way tie, but it's the Bengals and Ravens and Steelers, and there's the distance between them is not far off. Yeah. Like saying that the Bengals are the best one in that division is not a slight because it's that close to me.
Yes. No. And exactly. And I think that, and it's just as easily that if this offense it sounds like it's going to be almost very Louisville-like. Like
As long as
Louisville
they
was
stay healthy, that's
exactly the way Louisville spread the ball around when Lamar was at Louisville was. Yeah, he ran the ball at Louisville, but he didn't run as much at Louisville as he did in the NFL. That was the thing that happened when he got to the league. In college, we forget he was regularly thrown for 325
yeah,
to 400.
4,000 yard
Yes,
passer.
and so if that all comes to light, like he could easily go from Lamar's injury prone and a running back to, well, Lamar's an MVP candidate again. What do we do now?
Oh man, they have an offensive coordinator that is actually good in the pass game.
Yes, like
What?
it's gonna be
That's what it's going to be.
it's gonna be a fun division to watch football in. Probably
All right,
it's
so-
gonna go harder.
Since we're just going to try to take these hard ones here.
Yeah, right. Get the easy one out of the way last. The South.
I had to do it, and let's just go ahead and go right into it with the AFC West.
All right, I don't think that one's that hard.
You don't think so?
No, I think that the Broncos are awful.
Yeah.
I don't think we see the coach and the quarterback get along through the season. I don't know how they find it.
Yeah.
They're already
that,
not.
That
getting
has
along.
that drama. Is,
So much
is
drama.
funny.
The Raiders, Jimmy Garoppolo finds ways to win games, but I think Josh McDaniels is an idiot. Like
Yeah.
I think he's still the worst coach in the AFC.
I think he's the worst.
whole
He's probably
conference.
one of the worst coaches in the NFL.
Yeah, and
Like,
so
his players hate him. I mean, Derek
Yes.
Carr is no longer there because of him,
Yes.
and apparently Chandler Jones is now like having
and that
issues.
was awesome. The Twitter post
Yes.
of just like, I've called the coach and he won't answer the phone. Like, God, that's bad.
Dude, like, how hated can you be to have two players now,
Say
or
this.
one for sure, jet
And
out?
Chandler Jones is still a guy that can like.
He
can
didn't do
play.
very good last year.
Yeah, well, I mean, did anybody get good last year on that team though? That's kind of the problem.
Devontae.
Yeah. And that was just because all they did it was basically like the old Texas playbook for Vince, except for the new playbook was throw to Devontae or hand it to Josh Jacobs. Like that's it. Nobody
was
else
it.
can touch the football.
That was it. All right, no, you keep going. You keep going.
The Chargers. I think the Chargers are the only team that could give any kind of rival to it, but I just don't. It comes to coaching. Even separating the fact that I think Patty Mahomes is still that much better than Herbert.
Yeah.
I think the battle's won between
Andy Reid.
Reid and Staley.
Yeah.
Staley's going to get in a tight moment. He's going to poop his pants. Andy Reid's going to go, this is a Tuesday.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I guess that wasn't that difficult because there's no question in my mind that the Chiefs aren't going to win that division.
For the AFC, I think really the struggle is the wild card and then the East and the North.
Yeah.
The South and the AFC West, I think you can almost anoint the division champions.
All right, well, let's talk about the South and how the Jaguars are going to win.
Oh yeah, Jags are winning. I already told y'all that. Jags are taking 13 games this season. They'll have 4 losses to teams that are probably all playoff bound teams because they'll run into them. But they're gonna beat the Colts twice. They're gonna beat the Texans twice. They're gonna beat the Titans twice. There's 6 wins. I'm halfway there. And they get
it is probably one of the most cupcake divisions.
Yes, it's not a hard division. You've got. I got to remember which division that they actually play against this season. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, so they play the NFC South. So they've got Tampa. There's a win. Carolina. There's a win. New Orleans. Improved, but probably a win. I'm at 9 wins. I
would say 8.
Okay. Saying they lose 1 divisional game.
I would say they at least lose 1 to the Saints.
Yeah. So there's that. Let's see. The Browns, that's a coin flip game. By the time we get to week 14, we'll know if the Browns are actually real or not. We'll know if Deshaun Watson's a guy or if it's an easy win there. But, I mean, just look at the first 4 games of the season. Colts, win. Kansas City's probably going to be a loss.
Okay.
Then you play Houston and Atlanta. You're 3-1 before you go into Buffalo.
Yeah.
I mean...
Okay.
It's just... Their schedule, going into their bye week, saying they lose to the Steelers, the Bills, and the Chiefs puts them at 5-3 going into the bye week. I mean, okay. So,
all right. Well, let's jump over to the NFC because we're going to save the AFC East for last.
It's actually going to be
last.
super hard.
So let's jump over to the NFC and tackle the NFC South. because that one to me is also basically the same as the Jaguars division. You got Tampa Bay, who is got Baker as their quarterback.
Yes, I don't think you're gonna get anything much out of Tampa. I think that it sounds like Mike Evans is trying to push the envelope to be a mid-season trade.
He probably will be.
And I mean, you've got decent pieces around Baker, but the O-line was banged up last season. That was a problem.
And they lost their starting center.
Yeah.
For the year after he came back in the playoff game last year.
Yeah, exactly.
And apparently it was too early. Now he's out the entire year this year.
And then their defense, I mean, they just don't have what they had the year they went to the Super Bowl. They're not. A lot of those guys just don't hold up
Jensen,
for continuous
Ryan
years. I think they'll be last in the division. I think the rookie quarterback causes problems for Carolina. I think Carolina, even though they're so young, I still think that they go like a 6-10.
That's what I think. Yeah.
I think they're a 6 and I guess it's 7-10. You have 17 games. I think the race is honestly going to be between the Saints and the Falcons. I think the Saints have the better team, personally. But I also think they could win the division at 9-7. So
yeah. I don't know. I'm hoping Desmond Ridder takes that next step as the quarterback, but he didn't even become a captain this year for his team. Like, that's voted on by the players.
That is a voted thing by the players. That tells you
almost
something.
Every quarterback almost always gets voted captain.
I think even Baker got captain.
And he's not the captain. So that worries me.
I can see that's a
they're
worry
not
too.
really comfortable with him.
But
so I don't think Atlanta is going to be good.
He looked
enough.
okay to close out last season, and they're gonna get. He didn't even have Pitts last season, so they'll get Pitts.
Yep, they're a running team.
Well, they are, but you
So
still have
the
weapons
fact that you have Pitts and you have London almost
Pitts.
don't mean nothing. It's like
who's the outside guy?
It's Pitts and London. Like that's literally all they have.
The other outside guy. Is it Mac Hollins?
Maybe Mac Hollins. I don't know.
Mac Hollins.
Let me look.
I mean, you still have weapons though that yes, you're a run team, but you have a very good offensive line.
Yeah, Matt Collins and then Cordell Patterson as the Joker.
Yeah, because he's all over the place.
Yeah, that's his literal position.
Well, I think
they put it on the actual thing was J for Joker.
Did they really? That's hilarious.
Oh, did you see the Eagles depth chart that they put out?
No.
Their official depth chart.
It's probably got 12.
All
guys
4 running backs are the first stringers. All 4 of them. Boston Scott. Not Miles Sanders.
Boston
Scott, Kenneth Gainwell, DeAndre Swift, and Rashad Penny. All 4 of them are labeled as the starters.
And they still have Trey Sermon.
They cut him.
They cut him. Okay, and they had Trey Sermon at one point. I heard whispers.
So basically, if you have one of those running backs in your fantasy team,
I have Kenneth Gainwell I have Kenneth Gainwell on the basis that I expect Swift and Penny to get hurt.
Yes.
And then he's the guy.
Yeah. I wouldn't guarantee it, but I could almost feel very certain that he's going to get
one goes down within the first 3 weeks.
100%.
So, yeah.
100%.
No, I don't know. I think it'll like you said. I think it comes down to Ritter, but I think Derek Carr is the best quarterback in the division. So I think Derek Carr wasn't the problem for the Raiders, and he's got good weapons. Michael Thomas seems revigorated and wants to play football. I mean, if Michael Thomas is even shades of Michael Thomas next to Chris Olave, like,
yeah,
damn it, boy.
And then you got deep threat Rashid
Shaheed and Jawan Johnson. Don't sleep on that guy. You know that Derek Carr likes tight ends. That's Derek Waller. So if you haven't drafted Jawan Johnson as a backup tight end, just saying. Dude had a good year last year.
Not only that, but last year the Saints lost their rookie offensive tackle who was doing phenomenal before he got hurt.
Yeah.
So they got him back healthy. And then on defense, they drafted 2 starters. They brought in Kalen Saunders and Nathan Shepard to build up that interior. Yeah. Like, they have a strong defense, and now with the quarterback again, they have a great offense.
Mm-hmm. They do.
Like, to me, I don't think there's anything close to it. Like, they'll win the division by 3 to 4 games.
Do you think so? Okay.
Yeah.
I think
they're
too
good
Saints,
compared to the rest of the team.
I lean the Saints. I just think that Desmond Ridder.
You're just trying to play devil's advocate?
I mean, I have to do that. That kind of makes the show more interesting. So, all right, so you picked the South. I will pick little bit of this one could have some conversation. We'll have some fun here. Let's go to the NFC North.
I was saying it.
I was thinking it. I think that the Minnesota Vikings are the easy incumbent on the basis that they've already won it. They brought a lot of the guys back. I don't think though that I think the Lions are improved. I've said that already. I bet them to win the division in Louisiana. Jordan Love's a wild card because the Packers have a winning football team for the most part around him. I mean, now both their wide receivers are injured week 1. But Dobbs and Watson both didn't look bad last season. You still got A.J. Dillon. You still got Aaron Jones. You've got one of the best corners in the league on the outside on that defense. Jair Alexander. I think that in that division, I think it's because the division's so close, you can't sleep on them. I also think that if Justin Fields takes a step as a passer, the Bears got a wide receiver 1 now.
Oh, yeah.
DJ
Moore? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Bears have a backfield of running backs.
I'm working on getting DJ Moore on one of my teams because I got Fields and quarterback.
Yeah, the backfield of running backs they have there, they've got, Roshan. Khalil Herbert's looked like a very good football player. Every time he's been given a chance.
Roshan want to steal so much from him.
And then don't even sleep on the fact that you've got a bruising power guy in the poor man's version of Derrick Henry back there. So
another Longhorn, baby.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, that team, if Justin Fields takes the next step as a passer,
well, Roshan is third.
Plus they improved their defense a ton in the offseason.
Oh.
Jaquil Brisker's getting a second year in the safety position to develop. I mean, then you go and you look at
Irvin Dexter and Zach Pickens that they drafted.
Yeah. Then you factor the Detroit Lions. Like, we saw what the Lions did last year. You add Jahmyr Gibbs. You add David Montgomery.
They added Yannick Ngakoue.
Yeah.
Bears.
I mean, the Bears made moves to help that defense. Then you look at the Lions, and Goff had his best season of his career last year. Amon-Ra St. Brown's probably one of the 10 best receivers in the league as far as volume goes.
This is something that I said last year, or was it the year before that he went there?
Who, St. Brown?
No, Goff. Was it the year before?
Goff was year before.
Okay. When
it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
Yes.
So when he first got traded there, the one thing that I tried to tell people was if Goff has blocking, he is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
But he's got to have the blocking. If he doesn't have the time,
the Rams
he is
not.
god-awful. And in his first several years with the Rams, he looked so good because his blocking was incredible. He had the time to be able to make these anticipated great throws everywhere. But once all those guys went down, or they retired, or they left,
one of those guys was a 40-year-old Whitfield.
Yeah. So, like, he didn't have it anymore because he wasn't that type of quarterback that made stuff with his legs.
Yes.
He was a guy that needed that actual
passer.
blocking. And when he went to the Lions, who, in my opinion, had the best offensive line, and then they added Penei Sewell to it, I was like, dude, he's in the perfect setup to go to a team that is just pure up and down the line, just strong.
And I think the other thing is that I think the coaching situation there is just great.
Yes.
I think Dan Campbell is that.
Dan Campbell is the
Dan
coach.
Campbell is.
I would play for Dan Campbell.
Oh, 100%. He would make you want to run through a wall. He's a trenches guy, so he's focused on fixing the O-line and the D-line. You saw that with his first pick. His first draft pick as a coach was Aiden Hutchinson because he wanted a guy that could be a hard-nosed, dirty player if needed, the guy that could just represent Detroit. And I'm sorry. Aiden Hutchinson failed by not having shirts and capes that say Super Detroit or whatever he needs. Because that guy is literally the embodiment of that city.
He is, 100%.
And so, and the other thing with Goff is that McVay is more of that it's going to be okay, rah-rah kind of coach. And I think Goff needed someone that'll look at him and go, get your head out of your ass, let's go. And Dan Campbell's going to do that. He's not going to play that game.
Kind of like with Russell Wilson right now.
Also true. So I think that, I mean, it's hard to say. We forget he was the number 1 overall pick for a reason.
That, you talked about how the people that they added, so they added Jahmyr Gibbs this year to give them an incredible running back.
Yeah.
And then they brought in David Montgomery to help be that same guy that Jamal Williams was last year.
And he also brings a better pass catcher. Like Jamal Williams was a power back, and he's going to see most of that. But you can't look at their backfield now and go, oh, Jamal Williams in, they're running the ball. Because David Montgomery proved with the Bears that he can catch the ball.
Yeah.
Like, he will do those extra things.
Oh, yeah. And then not only that, but a guy that I drafted in every single league because I believe he's going to do really well is Sam LaForda, the tight end.
Okay.
Like, I believe with everything in me that he is going to end up being, fantasy-wise, one of probably, by the end of the season, one of the top 10 tight ends.
Okay.
And
Which
that's
a
not
shot
a
in the
big
barrel
thing.
for the position.
Yeah, like, I mean, you have your top, like, 4, and then after that, it's just like you said, it's just whatever.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen. Like, but this is a guy that is basically not getting drafted in most leagues, but when week 1 hits or week 2 hits, and all of a sudden 2 weeks in a row he has like
You see him week 1,
7 or 8 catches, all of a sudden people are going to be like, whoa, like, holy crap. And I'm going to be like, yeah, he's on my bench. Yeah, I got him behind this tight end, and I can just, whoop. Because right now, one of my tight ends is Dallas Goedert, and not terrible. I got him pretty late. I got him pretty late.
He's very safe.
He's going to get me 9 points.
He's going to catch.
And I'm okay with that.
In the Eagles' offense, he's going to catch 4 to 5 balls. He's going to probably get 40 to 50 yards, and he's going to catch probably 8 touchdowns. Like, it stays healthy.
Yeah,
can't complain.
he's a good, safe guy. That's just, I tell you, the one guy that I'm worried about is the guy you talked about is Pitts. It's just too much of a run offense, and I'm worried. Even just the generational talent, like if they can get away from the fact that they're not going to run the ball, like he would do well. But back on to this, I'm picking the Lions in this division.
I took the Lions also. I've already bet money on them winning in a
okay.
bet. I just can say that I think that it's not, say, as competitive as I think the AFC North can be, but I think that division is very good. Like,
it's very good.
How quickly that division could be. Hey, we're talking about this team. Remember a few years ago when the NFC West was just loaded. Everybody in the NFC West was stacked. But 3 years prior to that, the NFC West was awful, and nobody wanted to even touch them because 7-9 Seattle was getting the playoffs.
Yes.
Now, there's a very legitimate chance that the Vikings are on the downside, the other 3 teams are on the way up, and next year the NFC North's the team we're all going, I don't know, Super Bowl could come out of that division.
I mean, it could. It definitely could. Because there's several. I mean, Tampa Bay's probably going to be drafting pretty high, so they're probably going to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
And then Carolina's already got their quarterback.
And I think quarterback's going to be loaded in the draft.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, all right. So you took that one. So let's move on to the NFC West.
Okay.
And this one, I think it's a little tougher just because of 2 teams. Because there's a clear indication 2 teams are out of this.
Yes, 2 teams are done.
It don't even matter. So we're going to cut those out. That's the Cardinals and the Rams.
Cardinals are playing for.
They're playing for
the
number
first
1
pick.
pick. Yeah, number 1 and number 2 pick. Well, they're the number 1 pick and Houston's, so they're hoping they can get 1 and 2.
Wow, I didn't think about that. And they have Houston's pick. That could get scary.
So they could literally take
But we've
Caleb
also
Williams
seen they can't make good players play
and
good
Marvin
football.
Harrison Jr. back to back.
Holy crap.
They could possibly.
They could.
Yeah.
If Caleb Williams comes out, because he said that.
Yes. He did say that.
And then they could take May or Shedeur Sanders if he keeps balling.
Yeah.
So, would you imagine Shedeur
But-
Falcons jersey? His daddy would be so proud.
Boy, he would. So, yeah, this division to me it's not very tough on the bottom side, but you got the 2 teams that are going to be battling with basically the 2 Bay Area teams. You got Seattle and the 49ers, and the 49ers have everything going for them, just at almost every position where they're just loading up and stacked. The one problem that I see with them is George Kittle, and can he actually stay healthy this year?
I think that does play a lot
because
into it.
he hasn't had a healthy season since 2018.
Not a surprise. He's always hurt.
Yeah.
He's a nagging injury guy too. It's
So
not
like,
ever
as
the same.
great as he is, like if you can't keep him on the field, I think he's your difference maker for the entire thing. Because I mean, McCaffrey is clearly a difference maker, but when it comes to your true difference maker that's going to separate you from everybody else, it's the fact that you have that legit tight end that can take you above everything. But if he can't
And
stay
looked
healthy, like
really good with Purdy last year. Like they did have very good chemistry together. So.
Him and Ayuk. Ayuk was really good with Purdy last year.
Yeah, all the drafts people are these fantasy drafts, they keep jumping at Debo, and I look at Debo and I'm like, yeah, he's a really good football player, but he looked better with Ayuk and Kittle. Like he preferred to get to the ball, and Debo is very Kittle-like, where there goes a hamstring, he's out 2 weeks. And whereas Ayuk's constantly on the field. Like that guy is so slept
especially after 2 years ago where he got benched.
Yeah.
Like several times because he just either wasn't practicing hard or something. I forgot what it was. But he just wasn't getting into the system. And then once he finally got it, like he's been golden. Like
exactly.
So he's better than Debo to me. Debo is better with those sweeps and getting you some of that other
Ball
stuff. But
hands.
when it comes to just like running routes and being a good receiver, I think Ayuk is the best receiver
on the team.
Not player, but best receiver that they have on the team.
I can agree with that, for sure.
But with all that said, I'm picking my number 2 team. By the way, my number 2 team is Seattle Seahawks. My cousin Joey Hunt is on that team, so I kind of have to pick them in a way. But I also just think that they're really good. Like they're almost the same as the 49ers, except they don't have a legit tight end. They just have legit receivers. Like
so many.
3 of them.
And running backs.
And Geno turned it around, and an offensive line.
Exactly.
And they've got a defense that
is full of young
guys. They weren't very good interior wise, so they were letting some big runs go.
Yes.
But they went and tried to make sure they changed that this year.
Yeah.
So they're taking their weakness and trying to make it a lot stronger, and so hopefully they do. So I think that Seattle, to me, is probably they're going to be neck and neck. But I feel like Seattle is just going to be that team that goes over.
And I put Seattle in that same parlay bet that I did the Lions because I like what Seattle brings.
Okay.
I still think now that Purdy's healthy and we've seen him play in the preseason and we've seen him throw, I think that Brock Purdy makes the 49ers better than Sam Darnold would have been. But I also think that it could be a wild card. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a reason the kid was the last guy picked. So the 49ers defense is just more proven to me. I think that's the part that plays in.
So the Seahawks brought in Jaron Reed from Green Bay.
Okay.
Draymond Jones from the Broncos.
Yeah.
They drafted Cameron Young to play the nose tackle.
And Witherspoon.
Then they drafted Devin Witherspoon. They brought back B-Wags.
True, I forgot. That's the part I forgot on.
Yeah.
I lied. I picked the Seahawks.
They have
changes everything.
They have a strong defense that they were like, look, we were weak right here. Let's make this thing strong.
We haven't even said the name of the guy that you and I love and both have said was underappreciated last year. Didn't get the rookie votes that he should have on the Defensive Rookie of the Year side of the card.
Tyreek Woolen.
Because Tyreek Woolen was everything that Sauce Gardner was, except he didn't do this the whole time. I don't hate Sauce Gardner. I like Sauce Gardner. But Tyreek Woolen kept his mouth shut and just played damn good football all season. So he's 6'4". He runs 4.39 or something insane.
He was from UTEP, and that's the only reason why he got passed on.
Yeah, so
because he didn't face a lot of good players.
And he spends every day in practice against Metcalf, Lockett, and Jackson Smith, your first-round wide receiver. Some point or another, you have to look at the guys that they're practicing against and say, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
So I retracted. I changed my Super Bowl thing now. It changes so much for me because I forgot about defensive upgrades and adding Wagner. Damn it, Seattle. And my dad's a Seahawks fan, so I'll take Seattle in the West too.
All right.
Now, we're flipping a coin here because technically, I would say the NFC East is easier to decide than the AFC West.
I think so too.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and say this, and I'm going to make a lot of my Homer friends upset with this pick because, I mean, you got to face it. Like, the Eagles are a better team, like, built. I think they're a better team. Jalen Hurts is better than Dak. Their receivers are better than ours. With A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. Their receivers are better than ours. their offensive line is better than ours.
True.
But when I say this, I mean like it's a close like we're here and they're here. Like it's very close. It's not like I think they're miles apart. I just think that the offensive line for the Eagles is probably the number 1, and the Cowboys is probably like 5.
Yes, and I
don't think it's a big difference. But when you're looking at everything together, whose defensive line is better?
Dallas.
Eagles.
I just think that because Dallas has the best player on their defensive line. Yeah, that one player is damn good.
It is. But you're looking at the rest of them. Tank Lawrence doesn't do much other than stop runs.
True. Malik, the first-round rookie, hasn't looked very good so far in preseason.
Mozzie Smith
hasn't looked like they were wanting him to, but that could take time. We talked about young linemen. I'll say.
Can you name anyone else on that defensive line?
Is it
Odigizua?
Odigizua. I mean, I listen to the Dallas radio as long as I know. I think that Dallas has as good of corners as the Eagles.
I think Dallas has better corners now with Gilly.
I think
Gilly makes it better. Or let me say that back. Secondary. Because I don't.
Yes.
I think their corners are very close, but when it comes to secondary, Dallas has a superior secondary.
I also think Dallas has a superior defensive coach.
Yes.
We talked about coaching plays to us,
yes.
and I think that the Eagles are having to get a new defensive coordinator. They do have to put a young guy a young man in the middle, either a rookie or a first-year guy or second-year guys playing D tackle up the middle for him. Middle linebacker is going to end up being old boy out of Georgia, right, Neal?
No, I don't think he got the job. Nolan Smith?
No, Nolan Smith's the edge rusher.
Yeah, he's the edge rusher. Nakobe Dean. Yeah, he didn't get the job.
He didn't get the job?
No.
Okay.
So they brought in, I think, Cunningham.
All right.
Let me look.
So, I don't know. I think the middle of their defense, as far as linebacking, is going to be a question mark. I think they could be some struggles for tackling as a whole. And I don't think that their pass rush is nearly as good as it was last year. Big loss in the guy that went to the 49ers.
Javon Hargrave.
Yeah, Hargrave. Big loss there.
Okay, no, I lied. Nakobe didn't want it.
Nakobe Dean. So, undersized tackling linebacker. He's really good at Georgia. I mean, it could be what does he bring? If he ends up bringing as good as he was at Georgia, all right, cool. That fixes that worry of what's covering the middle of the field, prowling tackles. But I think that Dallas has an explosive weapon in Tony Pollard. I think that,
and that's to me, that's the one area that is more superior in like not having to add like secondary and everything, all secondary.
I think the biggest worry for Dallas is health.
Yes.
Dallas is
Tyron Smith.
Yes, I think, and I think not even necessarily just Tyron Smith. I think it's Tyron Smith, Terrence Steele, Zach Martin. I think they're Biotish. They need those 5 guys to start 15 of 17 games.
That ain't what happened.
I don't think so either. But that's the problem.
Yeah.
They need. I think they're good enough to still make the wild card without those 5 guys. I think they need those 5 guys all ready to rock though by the playoffs. That's going to be where it matters most.
Yeah.
So, I picked the Eagles to win the division on the basis, like you said, I think the strength of the offensive line, Jalen Hurts.
I think he's a dark horse to win MVP.
I don't disagree there either, but I also think that A.J. Brown, I don't think is as important to that offense as Devontae Smith is.
Oh, I think he is.
I think A.J. Brown is the home run big guy. Like, he brings that. But A.J. Brown had some issues with hamstrings and things at Tennessee that we didn't happen to see any of that this season. But there were, his first 3 years with Tennessee, there was missed time for a silly injury
There was.
And so I wouldn't be shocked if we see that happen and it becomes the Devontae Smith show. Like, I think Devontae Smith is a better route runner anyway.
If it does, then I'd say the division is the Cowboys. If A.J. Brown starts dealing with injuries,
yeah,
the whole receiver core is not good.
Their third receiver after the drop off from.
So I think where A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith are compared to where CeeDee Lamb and
I think it's
CeeDee
Lamb.
Who's it, Bobby Trees?
Cooks.
No, Cooks. Brady Cooks.
Should be. Yeah, I would say.
You got those 2 and then those 3.
Yes, like CeeDee Lamb is probably right there with A.J. Brown.
Yeah,
and
it's just the
he's
other
right
2
there.
that.
But then the
knocks it
drop
down.
off from CeeDee Lamb to Gallup and Cooks is pretty far.
And then add in their third receiver.
Exactly. Here's the thing: the drop off for the Eagles is Olamide Zacchaeus is way down here.
It's not Olamide Zacchaeus.
Someone like that. I know it's not a
Greg Ward.
Okay, so we're still down here.
It's Quez Watkins. Sorry.
Yeah,
he's
and all he is speed.
Yeah.
He's just a go guy. He's not going to cut middle of the field. I'm taking a Jalen Tolbert who looked really good in the preseason, even as a guy that's probably better than the third best receiver in Dallas.
No.
Or in Philly.
No. No.
He's looked really good so far.
No. He might have looked good, but no. I'm not going to go that far.
Who in the Eagles? Who do you say is the better Eagles receiver then?
Hold on.
You can say him. He's better. He's not better than Quez Watkins as a true wide receiver.
You talking about the guy that is?
He's fourth on the depth chart, right?
Fifth on the depth chart.
Who's fourth?
So you've got Lamb, Cooks, Gallup, Turpin, and then Tolbert.
Oh, Turpin is Quez Watkins though. They're the same person. Punt returners.
So
that run fast.
they would rather have Turpin as the fourth receiver than Jalen Tolbert.
Yeah, I still think their actual reps outside go to Turpin or go
So.
to Watkins. But all right,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it'll be a close one. I think the Eagles win it, but I think Dallas has a very talented football team. But Dallas is very star heavy and has to be healthy.
That's the big thing. That is the big thing. All right.
So,
Well, now let's make it a difficult decision here. One team is kind of out of this, but you've got the AFC East. This is another one of those hard divisions because it's just kind of loaded with talent.
so
like
good.
really talented. New England is they're not. So
I wouldn't be shocked if we watched the New England Patriots have a new starting quarterback by week 8 in the name of
Matt Corral.
Because I'm gonna be honest, great trade for the New England Patriots. But I hate the New England Patriots, but you
Did you
traded.
hear about that?
Yes,
Yeah.
you traded back so that the Panthers could draft for Corral. Corral played really good in camp before the Liz Frank injury.
Yeah.
So then you go, okay, we're drafting Bryce Young. I'm
He was
sorry.
expendable. But I would have kept him as a backup.
You could have at least kept him and seen if something hit. You could have had a very similar to a Trey Lance and Purdy situation. You send him to New England. New England gets him for a lower asset than they traded up to get. So you got a draft pick. You still got the guy that you like.
They got him in.
They got him off because they cut him.
The waivers, yeah.
And you don't. Bailey Zappi's and Malik Cunningham's more of a gadget player. It's not like he's gonna be a quarterback. If Mac Jones comes out struggling now that he does have an offensive coordinator calling plays, New England damn well might just say, hey, you know what, Matt Corral, let's see what we got in you. Because I think New England's defense is too good to get them in a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
Like, their defense is too good to get them in a spot to draft an elite guy.
Yeah.
And so, if a guy like a Corral or even a Matt Jones can make the safe throws to the Jujus, the Tyquan Thorntons.
By the way, have you heard about the Juju stuff?
What did he do?
Albert Breer has came out and said that he believes that Juju's knee is like this close to just blowing.
To exploding.
Yeah. Like,
scary.
That's scary, especially if you drafted Juju, which I did not because I stayed away from him.
No, I think if I drafted him, it was because he was there in like the 5th wide receiver spot where you're like, I mean, why not? He's a number 1 receiver.
I skipped over him every time.
Yeah, but no, I think Tyquan Thornton looks like he might have something. Don't they still have Devontae Parker? I mean, they've got some decent name guys. Ramondre Stevenson, Zeke Elliott.
Then they
Gesicki.
got Booty.
Oh yeah, Keyshawn Butte, the kid,
Butte.
the other receiver.
Is that how you say his name, Butte?
Yeah, Butte. You
Look
say it
at
like
Butte.
a Cajun. You gotta say it like a Cajun. Butte.
Butte.
I mean, they're
the
far and away
6th
last
round
place.
guy. Crap, I don't have his name written down. But yeah.
They,
and apparently that's why they kept Butte and that other guy because they're worried about his knee. So they
still
wanted
paid
to
him
make
3
sure.
for 33.
Yeah, well, I don't think they probably didn't realize it until camp.
You do a physical before you.
Yeah, but a physical don't mean that it ain't.
Man, decent physicals in the NFL is MRI machines and everything. You telling me they didn't put an MRI machine on that thing?
You probably could, but you probably at the time you're probably like, oh, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. And then you go to camp and all of a sudden you're like, oh
shit, it is that bad.
no, it is that bad. So I think that's what that is. But anyways, so yeah, all right. So ruling out the Patriots there. Now we move on to my third place team in this division.
I can't disagree with you. It's such a hard one. I think
There they are.
I'll say I think 3 teams make the playoffs from this division.
And
but we
that's
also
what
have
I'll also
four
say
hardest
is
schedules in football.
that's what I'll say is Miami being the third in this division is kind of like me saying talking about
Dallas being second, and they're still making the playoffs.
well, who else were we talking about? The Pittsburgh, Cleveland.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Baltimore, and Cincinnati
The
where they're
wild
all
card
just
race
kind
in
of
the AFC is going to be insane.
So, like, I don't think it's a bad thing to be third. Like, it sucks that you're third, but
you could go 11-6 and get third place in your own.
And
You
this
could go
one is
11-6 in the AFC this year. You could go 11-6 and miss the playoffs. Like you really could.
I mean, yeah.
Because
I think the Cowboys missed one year, but they had 10 wins or something.
Dolphins in my lifetime went 11-5 and didn't make the playoffs.
Okay.
And that was before we had 7 playoff spots, and I still think the AFC is that deep.
Well, my second place team, and I did this because I have to. My second place team in this division is Buffalo.
I can see it. I'm telling you, it's so toss up because
I think because last year we already knew the Jets' defense was really good.
yes,
They just didn't have a quarterback.
second that defense is the reason that they were winning games.
Yeah.
And
They just didn't have a quarterback.
and Garrett
And
Wilson.
then they went ahead and added one of, I don't think he's the greatest, but one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
For sure.
And not only that, you add to your offensive line. And then you add to your receiver room. And then you add to your running back room. And then you add more defense in the draft. Like, this is, this is probably one of the most well-built teams, similar to Tom Brady going to the Buccaneers.
Yes, it's built to slap a guy in who's good enough to. And the thing with Rodgers was last year, he didn't want to be there anymore. I don't think he literally cared about playing football.
He
and
didn't.
We've seen on the Hard Knocks clips and things that we've watched that
He didn't have his best friend there anymore.
Exactly. He's having fun. Like, he looks like he's having fun. He's reaching out to the young kids, doing all the stuff they said that he wasn't doing in Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
He's making high-five handshakes and all that stuff. Like,
apparently he believes in Zach.
yeah, he named some rando guy that's like 5th on the depth chart and got him to keep his roster spot.
What's quarterback's name? Zach
Wilson.
Wilson, yeah.
He does. He thinks that Zach Wilson will be the guy when he retires. He thinks that he's spoken never like he did about Jordan Love.
No.
About Zach Wilson. And I'll say this, Zach Wilson had a nifty run in one of the preseason games where he ducked out like 6 guys, tucked through, and took it for 20 yards. Maybe he's got to throw.
Yeah. I mean, the dude is good. It's just, it's not all clicking for him.
Yeah.
So having him there is going to help make that stuff click, especially if he's there for like 2 years. Like, if he's there for 2 years, that means Zach Wilson gets to learn even more for 2 years and go, now I get
because
it.
you have to assume,
now I know what to do.
You have to assume that when Rodgers goes out, it's not because the Jets sucked and they have a high draft pick. Rodgers is going to go out because either they couldn't get over the hump in the playoffs, or he became Peyton Manning, where we got there because of the defense, and I don't have it. I know I can't do it. And he is too prideful to be a shitty football player.
Yeah, he is. Oh, yeah.
He will.
100%.
I think he's still playing because he knows that he can be a top 5 quarterback in this league, and he just didn't give a shit last year. And he's got a weapon in Garrett Wilson.
He's also another dark horse that can win MVP. I mean, the dude's got talent around him.
Yes, and Garrett Wilson's a guy that could win Offensive Player of the Year.
Yes.
I mean, he could easily, especially, you forget Dalvin Cook's in the mix there too, but Garrett Wilson could go for 1,700 yards and be like, hey, y'all remember what he used to do with Devontae Adams? Like, that's this guy.
That's me now.
Yeah. So, no, I can see it. I think the injury for Jalen Ramsey really hurts the Dolphins because he's missing half the season. I think that Xavier Howard, opposite of Ramsey, gives you 2 top 10 quarters. I think when you don't have one or the other playing off of each other, you have a top 15-ish guy that falls off. Yeah. They're not as good alone. That's why they had to get that second guy. It's going to be...
Is it going to be Kelvin Joseph?
No. You asked me the question and I forgot.
Eli Apple.
Eli Apple's going to be the guy, but you'll also see Ufa. You got to say his weird name. It's a weird name to say.
Well, it's definitely not Noah Igbenogany.
No, it's not Igbenogany. We've definitely gotten rid of him, thank the Lord.
It is Kadir Kohu.
Yes. Kadir Kohu is going to start outside. Kadir Kohu was really good last year.
Slot.
Yeah, Nick Needham was but he's hurt, so he's done. I think he's actually done for the season. So
who?
Nick Needham. I think he's out for the season. I
don't need to see his name on the depth chart.
But Javon Holland is a monster.
Yes.
Javon Holland covers ground. He is very. I'm gonna go Legion of Boom here.
Oregon, wasn't he?
Yes, I'm going Legion of Boom here, and I'm putting he so reminds me of what Earl Thomas was for Seattle. He can hit, but he can cover ground.
Yeah.
Javon Holland is
a
monster. I don't know. Christian Wilkins, the Dolphins are just stacked with talent. It all comes to Tua. If Tua doesn't play 15 games, I like Mike White as a backup. I think he's one of the best backups you're going to get. But
I don't know. Dallas got a pretty good one back there.
Yeah. Anyway, I think the Dolphins' running back situation is a crapshoot of guys.
Yeah.
If the Dolphins are good, but having horrible production from running back, they trade for Jonathan Taylor. Yeah. They will overdo it to win this and try to win it.
They will.
So, and I love their coach. How do you not? That dude's hilarious.
Yeah. He's a great dude.
But our tight end is crap. Durham Smythe.
Yes.
Yeah, we're awful at tight end. We bring nothing.
You might as well
to
not
that
even just talk about.
He's essentially another
blocker.
blocker.
That exist.
We have a fullback that actually plays because our tight end is so bad. So no, yeah. I mean, that's what it is. I agree with you. I think it could go any way. My wife obviously wants the Dolphins because of a bet that I made 6 years ago with her. I don't know if I ever spoke on that on the show. So have I told you that bet?
I think I've told you.
So 6 years ago, when my Dolphins were dog shit. I mean, let's be honest. We were talking 0-16.
Yeah.
We had no direction. Worst coaching staff in the league. Gase is a bloody moron.
Oh.
Yeah, the Gase days.
Yeah.
Those are dark days for Dolphin football, yeah.
Oh.
I told my wife, because we have 2 kids. I have an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old, and I told my wife that I never wanted another child. The only way I'd have another child is if God gave me a miracle. Very similar to Angels in the Outfield, where the Angels win the pennant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, if the Dolphins win the Super Bowl, before the 31st birthday was the year 30H for her, then I have to reverse my vasectomy. I made this deal, and we were awful. And now, every one of my fantasy football friends is rooting for the Dolphins to win the Super Bowl.
Let's go Dolphins!
Because this is it. My wife's birthday is February the 26th.
Okay.
And the Super Bowl runs around February the 5th or 6th, which means that if the Dolphins win the Super Bowl, I'm reversed.
Okay.
So now the whole show knows.
Reverse.
Yeah. So that would be the question.
All right. So here's the real big question.
Yes.
Who's playing in the Super Bowl?
Now that we've done 400 different changes, variations, concepts, and things, I think that the reason, if Chandler Jones can fix his contract situations with the Chiefs, I think that he can help anchor the Chiefs' defense enough, he's done.
One player.
Not Chandler Jones, Chris Jones. We were talking about Chandler Jones earlier. But because of the situation being up in the air with him and not knowing if there could be more from this Kelsey thing. If there's more to the Kelsey injury, if it becomes a hyperextended
it was a bone bruise.
Yeah.
They came out and said it was just a bone bruise.
Did they? Okay. I'm gonna go with the most experienced team not named the Chiefs though that have had a chance, and that's the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they're the only team that's proven that they can win a big game head to head against Mahomes.
Yeah.
So
100%.
that is going to be my AFC selection.
Okay.
On the NFC side of things, I looked at the Eagles because of experience. I looked at the Cowboys, but like I said, I think the Cowboys are depending on some older guys having to stay healthy. I love the Seattle Seahawks now to win their division, but I think when it comes to playoff football, I think the 49ers are still built the best in the NFC to play playoff football. I think that we forget that if Brock Purdy doesn't get hurt and then the backup gets hurt, San Francisco's right there with Philadelphia.
Without Purdy, they knocked out the Cowboys.
Yeah, so they're right there with the Philadelphia Eagles to even get be in that Super Bowl.
The talent is there.
I think it could be the 49ers and either the Bengals or the Chiefs, which I hate that we're seeing the same teams because of all these young teams that are so good. But the crazy part is some of these young teams that are so good are just younger than already really young and good teams.
So it's funny, I'm actually choosing Seattle to win that division, but I don't have them going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because I have the 49ers going to the Super Bowl.
I think the 49ers just play good playoff football.
Yeah. It's one of the, it's basically betting against Eli Manning in the playoffs.
Yes.
Eli Manning in the playoffs and Eli Manning in the regular season were two different players.
Joe Flacco, same way.
Yeah. So that's the way I was kind of looking at this. Is like I think Seattle has the best opportunity to win that division, but I think the 49ers are going to get into the playoffs, and I think the 49ers will be in the Super Bowl as long as Kittle and Purdy can stay healthy.
Yes.
And
I think that Deebo Samuel is the least important weapon on that offense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think Christian McCaffrey has to play every game because I think Elijah Mitchell is
I
not
hope
that
he
far of a step down.
I hope he does.
I mean,
I got
I'm
him
sure.
on one team.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is, I don't think the drop off from Elijah Mitchell to Christian McCaffrey is nearly as big as people hype it. Elijah Mitchell's a damn good football player. He just gets hurt.
But that's.
It's the pass catching difference that makes a big deal, but I still think that they don't have to overly rely on Christian McCaffrey to win games because of all the other weapons. And the defense.
Yeah, he's definitely not going to be used the same way he was in Carolina, especially with his age now. Like he's going to be used a little less, but they'll still use him.
For sure.
But the gap between them two, I think there's a it may not be like to here, but this is a star. And this is a above average guy that can do things.
I just think you can still win games with the above average guy.
Elijah Mitchell is the typical Eagles running back. You can put him there and he'll do well, and then next year they'll go, well, we can get this guy and just pay him less and get rid of him. Yeah. That's who he is. Okay. He's a good dude, just he's never going to be a star.
Yeah.
Okay. But my AFC team, we are going to go with a team that has a lot of not potential, but they have experience. And you talked about the Bengals being that team that can beat Kansas City, and Kansas City is that team. But I gotta go with the Jets and Aaron Rodgers winning the Super Bowl somewhere else.
True, I can see that playing out.
They're just way too talented. It's all going to come down to
Dalvin Cook will be motivated to be an extra guy there too.
Yeah, but it's all going to come down to is what's his name, the head coach? Is
Saleh.
He what?
Robert Saleh.
Saleh, yeah. Is he
legit? Is
legit
he ready to make those calls?
Because
and I think that
when you see
when
you see videos of him, he does kind of give you those Dan Campbell vibes. Yes. But not. He's like it's kind of Dan Campbell, but not Dan Campbell.
I think Dan Campbell just knows football too.
Yeah.
Saleh, he knows defense. I think Dan Campbell knows football.
Yeah.
That's the difference there.
And so that's that and not only that, but I mean Aaron Rodgers apparently loves the Denver Broncos coach Nathaniel Hackett, who just completely blew it as a head coach. And I said this in groups that I'm in before. There are coaches that are just good at being coordinators. Sometimes a coach just never should be a head coach.
Josh McDaniels.
Because they're really good at something, but when you give them this, they're not good at that. They're good at this.
Yes.
And I think Nathaniel Hackett is probably who that is. He's
Gary
one
Kubiak
of those.
Was one of those.
Kubiak, and in my honest opinion,
Wade Wilson.
Jason Garrett was that one. Jason Garrett just had good players. So you had good players that made you look good. So you got carried by that.
And so you were able to sit at that mediocre line.
And then you realize,
Wade
you
Phillips
have these just kind of open.
I was trying to say.
Wade Phillips.
Hall of Fame defensive coordinator.
There are just certain guys that there are just certain guys that were just coordinators, and that's it.
Yeah.
And Hackett is one of them, and Aaron Rodgers absolutely loves him as a coordinator.
True.
So you got Saleh, who can bring this an awesome defense, and then you have Nathaniel Hackett, who Aaron Rodgers loves
and has rapport with.
Like it's too hard not to go with that dude who has those weapons and that defense.
True. The inexperience is my fear.
I'm going to take the Jets taking the Super Bowl because I just want people to be mad, especially Green Bay Packers fans, to be mad that Aaron Rodgers went off somewhere and won a Super Bowl because their organization is complete garbage. Because Guda Cunt can't assemble a team because he drafts stupid players in stupid rounds.
True.
So,
now that we assumed it would be all things NFL today. Let's be honest.
An hour and 10 minutes. So
we're going to hit on some of the other things here pretty quick because there are some other stuff going on, but we know that we don't want to make the show a babbling session. So I think while we're on the pigskin world, I think we're just going to slide into the little kids now, right?
Yeah, we'll slide into the little kids.
If we're going to slide into the little kids, I think we know who to start with, right?
The little big kids?
The little big kids.
The little big kids. That smacked around some other kids that thought they were big.
Let's just go ahead and walk into this and say, first of all, we told y'all TCU was not going to be as good as they were last season. We
sure did.
We also told y'all that Shedeur Sanders is that guy. Like, he was that guy at Jackson State. And the main reason that I stand by that his daddy took this coaching job is for him to bring Shiloh and Shedeur to a bigger conference and let them show out. Yep. The Pac-12 went undefeated week 1. 13-0 after the first 2 weeks. And then went to TCU, your defending national runner-up, and played a classic of a football game.
Yeah, and they were 16-point dogs.
They were a 22-point dog.
22-point dog. 22-point dog.
At one point, a 24.5-point dog, and it bet down. Shedeur gets interviewed after the game after he goes for 510 yards. And let's be honest, there was meat on that bone.
Oh, yeah.
Because Travis Hunter, who I can't even get started on that monster, dropped the touchdown on a play.
Yeah.
There was 3 other drop passes.
Well, he also overthrew the very first touchdown. It could be a touchdown.
To Sanders. He underthrew Travis Hunter there. Yeah. He had 9 incompletions, 4 of them were drops. He could have easily thrown for almost 575 plus yards.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he broke 9 school records?
Yes. He's already owns the Colorado record book in 1 game. Now we'll get, and he's not even the story of the show. Because here's Travis Hunter, who goes out and plays 145 snaps. You know,
on offense and
not one player in the NFL or college played over 100 snaps in a single game last season. Not one player. He played 145 and was the best receiver on the field and the best corner on the field.
Wow.
We joked.
I didn't realize that.
We joked that he could have had a pick 6 and a touchdown. He damn near had 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, because they only threw the ball his way 9 times. 9 times. He had 5 pass breakups and an amazing diving interception in the goal line that totally swung momentum. TCU had a chance to put that game away right there, and he snagged that bad boy. That game was everything that we told y'all it could be and more.
Yep.
Great football game.
Just based on the fact that Max Duggan went to the NFL, Kendre Miller, the running back, went to the NFL, Quentin Johnson, the starting receiver, went to the NFL, Steve Avila, the starting left guard, who was their best offensive lineman, and went to the NFL. D. Winters, their starting linebacker.
Yes.
There was a defensive
end.
I
Many
forgot his name.
TCU players went to the NFL.
And then Tomlinson, LaDainian Tomlinson's nephew, was a cornerback.
Yeah.
All those guys left. To me, all that happened last year was Sonny Dykes took Gary Patterson's guys and his best guys. He had their best guys for one more season, and he was able to take them.
Now, that said, I'll give him this, because TCU's starting quarterback Saturday was the starter last year. And then he lost the job after he got hurt against Colorado. He missed like 6 weeks, and by then Dugan was a Heisman candidate. You can't take him out.
Nope.
So there should still be something in TCU, but for everything else they lost, they're not Alabama. They don't get the recruiting class of guys that are just going to step in. They did decent in the transfer portal, everyone said, but I'm sorry. Colorado turned that roster over tenfold, led the nation in transfer portal signings in 1 game. But you know what? Who is just as impressive, who did the same approach? We like to talk about local people. G.J. Kinney. You know who G.J. Kinney is?
I don't.
He is the head coach of Texas State.
Oh, okay.
Texas State brought in the 3rd most transfers at 46. G.J. Kinney is 34 years old. He's a live from the Mesquite area around here. He's got friends around here. I know people that he knows.
Okay.
The guy that made this jersey, MJT Sports, was on the sideline at the game because him and GJ Kinney have been friends since high school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, GJ Kinney walks out and gets him a W in Baylor against a Big 12 team. Yes, Baylor's not a great Big 12 team, but he still got it.
And now let's talk about another Big 12 team that lost in double overtime.
Yeah.
To Wyoming.
Yeah. Do you know if you bet a parlay bet on that team, the Texas State game in Colorado, and put $100 on it, you win $66,000?
Did you know that Texas State is ranked higher than Texas Tech now?
Well, they won. My wife goes to Texas Tech. Texas Tech is school too. The LSU and Tech have always been that way. Guns up. But we're going to be 0-2 after Bo Nix and Oregon get done with us at home.
Yeah.
By the way, bet the spread, take Oregon plus the points, because a 6.5-point dog is all Texas is, or Tech is. That's a joke.
Yeah. There's, and then one of the highlights. I don't want to talk about the highlight game yet, but one of the highlight games that I'm looking forward to is A&M at the U, because, dude, Miami. I mean, it's Miami, Ohio, but Miami spanked Miami, Ohio. Spanked. And then A&M destroyed New Mexico. So now we're kind of looking at both of these going, okay, but which one is actually good?
The thing with A&M is we know they have a ton of talent. They had that huge draft class or recruiting class. They lost some guys. I think the big thing that they did, I was reading an article on this, bringing in Bobby Petrino to be that OC. That gives you a legitimate,
definitely helps you,
offensive mind that Jimbo Fisher can go do what he does best, which is the defense. He's always been a defensive guy.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be a huge difference in what takes Texas A&M back to what they thought they were going to become. So I'll say
also
that.
saves his job.
100%, even though it would cost them so much money to fire him.
Yeah. And then the next one, I mean, definitely have to talk about this one. It's Colorado and Nebraska.
Yeah.
This is the one, I guess, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this more than I was the TCU game, just because it's Matt Rule. And I don't like Matt Rule.
Well, I'm looking forward to it on the thought that not because it's Matt Rule. I have no problems with Matt Rule, but my thing is I've hyped you, Sanders. I've hyped you, Hunter. I've hyped you, Prime.
And exactly.
Do it again. Because now you're facing, this isn't Jackson State where now you're going to play the Sisters of Mercy. Now you're playing Nebraska. Who maybe they're not as good as years past Nebraska, generationally, whatever, but they're still a Big Ten opponent. Like, they are a legitimate threat.
Yeah.
Then you turn around, I mean, the other thing that it builds up to is that Nebraska, then you run next week for Colorado, they run into another good opponent, and we could easily sit in a situation where we have top 10 Oregon at home versus a top 15 Colorado team, because Colorado takes care of business against some of these unranked Power 5 schools.
Yeah.
So
this is, like, to me, what I like most, though, is this could end up being another TCU game, because Colorado already has a Big 12 defense. Like, they're going to score. And Rule is going to be looking for his first win as head coach.
He is, after taking
or
a loss.
not first time as a head coach.
As Nebraska
coming
coach.
back to college and being
he took
Nebraska's
a
head coach.
pretty ugly loss to Minnesota,
Yeah.
13-10. What an awful football game.
So that's going to be one of those where Rule is going to want to basically just turn everything and go, look, now we got Colorado. Let's go out there and show them what's up. Yeah. Because they're going to be looking at us like, oh, they just lost to Minnesota. Like, they just beat TCU. Let's go in there and do the same thing they did to TCU.
Exactly, and you get to see the adjustments you'll have going in.
But I don't think it's going to happen. I think Colorado's going to spank them. I sure hope so.
You also saw on another team that's a sneaky one that they'll have an easy schedule this week, so there's not really much to talk on. But keep an eye on Duke. Duke got him a very nice win. I think Florida State, I hate to say it, but they whooped the second half. They whooped LSU. LSU was supposed to be a national championship contender, and they whooped them. So Florida State.
Daniels looked good though.
No, he did. Jaden Daniels didn't look bad.
He didn't look good in the second half.
He didn't look good in the second half. There was the entire team just had it came out flat and it never woke up. But Duke looked really good, getting a win over Clemson. Washington State, Wisconsin could be a game, but I think now I know what game you're ready to get into.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, give me your ugly logos and all that. You didn't even bring your doll this week.
I mean, it's down there.
Oh, it's down there? All right.
I just decided to do my regular stuff. But, yeah, man, you got number 11 UT and number 3 Alabama. Last year, when Alabama came to Texas, Texas made Alabama's band stay in the nosebleeds. Alabama's doing the same thing in Texas this year. So, Texas band is staying in the nosebleeds, and they went to the next level, and Texas fans can only get the upper deck. They can't buy tickets anywhere else. You can only buy upper deck. So, Alabama is kind of doing the same thing that Texas did to them. I'm 100% okay with it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm good with it because Texas did it.
I think you should do that to all home games.
Yeah.
Why would you want fans of the other team anywhere near the field?
So it's going to bring out a really good rivalry, especially with Texas moving there next year. So it's already kind of started last year. Now we're going to get to see a little bit of it this year before we get to see a full-on thing of it.
Full conference.
So this is going to be a really good one just because, man, I know Alabama is Alabama. And, you know, Quinn did not look spectacular against Rice.
I think it's 260.
He overthrew Xavier Worthy quite a bit. Like he needs to get his deep ball in order.
I think the other surprise of that game was that when they went to the backup with the big lead, they didn't bring in Arch. Arch didn't play. I think a lot of people find that to be a surprise that they went to the third string.
I don't know why, because the other guy's a five-star quarterback too.
Was he really?
Yeah.
I think everyone just hypes up because he's Arch Manning.
Yeah, because it's Arch Manning. Yeah, like he's like we have legitimate like quarterbacks. You're going to have to earn your spot. Like this, it ain't no quarterback room anymore.
Quinn Ewers is the guy that's really pushing because this is his NFL chance.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I think if Ewers has a good season, he's going to push the envelope to go to the NFL.
Yes.
He's going to be that. Probably that second, third round guy.
I think he'll be mid to bottom first.
I don't think he's going to go high.
I think that's where he's projected right now.
Already?
Like, I mean, I've seen people like that I trust in the top 15. Man. I don't think he's that high. I think he's in that mid to late first round.
So many good quarterbacks.
But if he you got older guys like Mike, or not older guys, but like you got guys like Michael Penix, who looked really good. Washington.
Yeah, he's not even one of the four that come to brain right now.
He's got so many injuries and like nothing left in his knees. Like once he gets in the NFL, he's gonna have one injury and he's gonna be done for the rest of his career. Yeah. And like you're going, oh man, I wasted a first round pick on this dude.
Yeah.
Like I don't care how good he is, how good he does, he's gonna go in the third or fourth round. Yeah. Just because of his injury history. But yeah, I mean the main three is Caleb, Drake May, and to me after that, to be honest, it's Quinn Ewers.
And I think right now, early part of the season, it stays that way. I think that you could keep an eye on Sanders playing his way up.
And then Shedeur Sanders is more than likely to play as well.
My wonder was
because
Sanders
right now he was looked at as around third round.
Yeah, and I think my question with Sanders is, will he come out right away? I almost wonder.
Deion said yes.
Oh, Deion said
Deion was like, I want him to go to the NFL.
Okay.
Like,
I was wondering if he would have any desire to stay with what is basically his boy in Travis Hunter, because Travis isn't draft eligible, and losing Sanders will really hurt Travis's stock. We know
they're bringing another quarterback.
True, but Travis will get his rank as a defensive player no matter what.
I mean, they could.
But he's not. But if he wants to try to be Shohei Ohtani and play both sides of the ball in the NFL, or Deion Sanders, he's not gonna be able to do it at the same level. But I think that'll be a question that could come into play.
It was Malik Murphy. Yeah.
But
so he's a redshirt freshman.
I think the other fun game, not just pointing out a fun game here, might be the SMU Oklahoma game.
But Texas is gonna win that game.
You think Texas takes Alabama?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that
they almost took them last year, and Quinn got hurt.
That's true. Ewers did get hurt last year. I don't think Alabama's quarterback I mean, he looked okay, but he looks like a running back. He's gigantic.
He's massive.
He is humongous.
I seen pictures of him. I was like, oh my goodness.
So, I don't know. It'll be some fun ones. Wisconsin with Washington State could be fun. Oklahoma, SMU could be a fun little upset possibility there. SMU finally getting a shot at a big school or a big conference this week. ACC bringing them in. I'm kind of disappointed the Big 12 didn't. I feel like that was a logical pickup for the Big 12 if you were going to get a team. Get SMU.
Well, they just sent invites. They didn't. They haven't been.
SMU's agreed that they want to go to the ACC.
Oh, they have. Oh, okay.
Yeah. They just I think it's got to be ratified by the conference, but I think SMU's already basically said like, you gave us the invite, we're in.
Yeah.
A lot of these schools now are trying to get the ACC to be that fringe power school. That way, when it becomes eventually the next round, they assume, which is the super conference, where it's just 2 teams essentially, basically an NFL schedule. Everyone wants to be a seat at the table to have a chance to get into that.
Okay.
That's what everyone's saying. So the goal is, they think it'll end up being 4 conferences that come around about 85 to 90 teams, and then in about 4 to 5 years, we see about 30 of those teams fall off, and everyone's trying to make sure they're one of those 64 teams. Is what it sounds like could happen. So.
All right.
Yeah. So other than that, though, top 5. There was a little bit of a shakeup as far as the college rankings. I know.
Yeah, there was.
Florida State jumps into the top 4. Ohio State didn't look very good and doesn't know their quarterback situation, so they dropped to 5th. USC's 2-0 still. Caleb Williams is going to continue to prove that he's not, and he's also said, his dad's already said he won't come out if he doesn't like the first pick. So that's another thing that could really just throw everything for a loop.
That's what's going to mess everything up. That right there?
Penn State, it's going to be a fun season. Tennessee, Notre Dame, Texas. There's only one team in the top 12. You're 2 teams in the top 12 that haven't won a game yet, and that's LSU and Clemson, both getting losses, but both seeing losses to what are seen as quality teams. I mean, Duke's now ranked, Colorado's now ranked, LSU lost to a team that's 4th in the nation. So teams can turn it around and keep going for sure. But I think, is that really all you've got college basketball wise or football wise?
That's pretty much all
I think that goes. Other than that, I think it's really just kind of touch and go on some of the other stuff. We've got some playoff races coming to light. We've got quarterfinal FIBA basketball here.
We've got the Rangers playing too.
Yeah, the Rangers are playing right now against. By the time this drops, they're gonna be. Are they losing?
8-2.
Yeah, that's not a surprise. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. The Texas Rangers were, at one point, 8 games up in their division.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're tied for the wild card. They play Houston tonight. They're going to lose. They've got 3 against the Oakland Athletics. They have to sweep them, and the Rangers don't sweep people. So let's assume they take 2 of 3. Then they have the biggest series that they have all month, potentially, and that's the Toronto Blue Jays. 4 games against the team you're tied for in the last wild card spot. 3 games against the Guardians, who are still fighting for a division spot. 3 games against the Red Sox, still fighting for a spot in the wild card. And then, this is where it gets hard. Of the last 10 games, the Rangers have 7 against the Seattle Mariners, who've played some of the best baseball in the league right now. So, your division could be decided between September 22nd and October 1st. The Rangers better figure it out quick, or they're not going to be in the playoffs at all. They're just the schedule plays out to be crazy hard. Evaldi came back and didn't look very good coming off IL. Just things to look at there. You've got a crazy race for the National League All-Star or MVP. It's literally, they say, down to basically 4 guys, and 2 of them, they're all on the same teams, and then 1 guy that could get a vote, and that's Cody Bellinger. Because Cody Bellinger's having a better season than the year he won the MVP.
Okay.
But you look at guys like Freddie Freeman's 2nd in the league in batting average, batting .335. Ronald Acuna's hitting .330 with 30 home runs and 60-something stolen bases now. That's never been done. What's his name? Mookie Betts is hitting .315 now. He's 3rd in the league in RBIs and 4th in the league in home runs. The Dodgers won 25 games last month, so the pennant race is going to be insane. But then the Braves played the Dodgers. It was supposed to be this huge series, and the Braves just destroyed the Dodgers last week. So
can't help with losing one of their pitchers too.
True. But their Dodgers are supposed to be potentially getting guys back, too. There's talks that they might be getting Walker Buehler back in time to play in the playoffs, and that was a big name for them.
Okay.
They've battled a lot of pitching injuries, though, and kept the ball rolling. Matt Olson for the Braves leads the National League in home runs and in RBIs. So he's a guy on the ballot to keep an eye on. I mean, it could be a fun race. Cubs might sneak in and win a division. I'm telling you all the money I could have lost on that action. Justin Steele damn well might win as a Cy Young Award. Look at him coming out there dominating at it like he has been. So, but no, I think it's going to be, the races are fun. I mean, it's a good race. There's so much going on. I think the only thing we know is that Shohei is going to win Ohtani, is going to win the American League MVP, and he's not going to play again the rest of the season. Like, he's done. They say he might not need Tommy John.
Really?
They say that he might be able to get a minor form of a surgery that could help correct the arm issue. He'll be hitting next year and potentially pitching by the end of the year.
Okay. Wow.
So,
all right.
Now that could just be a GM trying to save his client $200 million because that guy went from $700 million to $400 million real quick.
Yeah.
So, especially because after he got hurt, the power went away. He hasn't hit, but I don't think he's hit a home run in 14 games.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like that, the power is coming out of that swing.
Dang.
So, it could be it's going to keep being fun. We'll keep seeing some things, I think, as they come together. But the Braves are 6 games up on the second best team in the National League. So you can go ahead and punch their ticket to the playoffs along with the Dodgers. And I think the Phillies are pretty safe in that wild card spot as good as they've been playing. So, baseball-wise, we'll talk more into baseball next week. We know we put a lot of football in this week.
Yeah.
Then you have the semifinals for the FIBA World Cup. Canada this morning. R.J. Barrett was awful in the first half. Game was tied at 50. Shea was doing Shea stuff. Dylan Brooks. It literally came down to Dylan Brooks and Lou Dort hitting big shots in the first half, keeping that game close. And then R.J. Barrett went off in the second half for 22 points. And they just... The problem with Serbia... So, we've had this discussion on the show. What is our biggest issue with Luka?
Man, that boy is a crybaby.
Yes. Guess what? The whole damn country is. At least the basketball team. Because Luka got ejected for throwing a fit. Got a second technical. Literally, routine basketball play. Luka sits on the ground and starts yelling at the ref. Ref's like, not having it. Gone.
Yeah. Like, he needs to clean that up. If he played for a different team, I would absolutely hate him.
100%.
Because he's such a crybaby.
But
I have to deal with it because he's a Maverick.
I borderline don't like because I borderline struggle with liking him because of that. Like, he gets a vote because he's a Mav. I have friends that are Mavs, and I already root against the Cowboys, so I should probably at least give my friends that are Mavs fans that love. But the coach for Serbia got teed up early. The second best player on the team, he got a technical. Another guy got teed out for it. I mean, that was a very big issue for them. Was arguing. USA, let me finish it out. So the U.S. will play, or Canada will now play against, I cannot remember the name of that country. Serbia. Slovenia. Slovenia is who Luka plays for, sorry. So now Canada's going to play Serbia.
I was like, man, I thought it was Slovenia because I wrote that down.
Yeah. Canada's going to play Serbia, who beat Latvia. No, Latvia was who Germany beat. I don't remember who that little green flag is there.
What was it?
Italy, I think, maybe? No, it's not
Yellow,
Italy.
green,
That's who the U.S. beat. I'm trying to look.
Lithuania,
yeah. They beat Lithuania. I don't think Lithuania is all that great, so I think Canada's got a legitimate chance at being in a final.
Mm-hmm.
Germany's undefeated, though. Dennis Schroeder took way too many shots in the game against Latvia and was not hitting them. I think he went like 4 of 26 from the field. But they do have Franz Wagner from the Magic, Hans Wagner from another team, because they're brothers. They've got a couple other NBA quality guys. They haven't lost yet in this tournament. The U.S., Anthony Edwards looked a lot better this game than he did the last one. We look at the big scoring number and we're like, oh yeah, Anthony Edwards did. Anthony Edwards took 26 shots we talked about last game when the one they lost. I think Anthony Edwards has to continue to be a facilitator of the ball. I don't think people realize that how good the Dream Team was at facilitating. Like, people just think Michael Jordan was on the team, so he scored every bucket. I think he led the team in scoring. But they passed the rock on that team so well.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And the U.S., no one has a roster as deep as the Americans do, so they need to utilize that depth. Because the only team that I think can even come close to them in depth at this point is going to be Canada. and Canada struggles with playing FIBA basketball. There's some variations to the rules, and they get some ticky-tack fouls called.
Oh, okay.
So that's really what kept the Serbia game, or the Serbia, right? Did we establish that now? Or no? Slovenia. So we kept the Slovenia game close.
That's who they're playing.
Yeah, that's one of the things that kept the game so close, though, is that this difference in the style of the game, it gave Canada some struggles. It has the whole tournament. It's well documented, though, that people think it's harder to score in the FIBA game than the NBA.
Okay.
Continuously something that these players have been coming out and saying. So,
and I'm sure, especially with I'm sure the Americans definitely.
Oh yeah, because you don't have a lot of them that have ever played it. A lot of them are coming in from the college ranks. So we won't record before the final. The final's on the 11th. So we will discuss who wins it. I think it's going to come down to Team USA versus Canada.
I think so too.
And
I wrote that down.
I think that the Canadians play very good defense, and they have the best player on the floor. At this point, the thing that was the highlight of the tournament was the fact that Slovenia and Luka versus SGA and Canada were the two best players in this tournament. There's no questioning.
And then he had to go and be a big old crybaby.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a close game prior to that. So I think Canada can win if SGA stays hot. I think that RJ Barrett is probably, if he was American, he's probably the third or fourth best player on Team USA when he's on.
Oh, did you see all the stuff about Banchero?
About Team
Italy, and they're all mad at him and stuff.
Yeah, oh, goodness. Because I guess he had the ability to go play for them. And now he's coming off the bench for the U.S.
And he didn't even answer or text back. Like, he just ignored him.
Oh, you got to at least tell him I'm playing for America. Come on.
Yeah.
No, but I think it's going to come down to the U.S. and Canada. I'm going to be honest, because of my bias of the two Oklahoma City Thunder players, this isn't the Olympics, it's the World Cup.
Yeah.
Because it's the World Cup, I'm going to root for Canada.
Ooh, that means...
I'm not a traitor. I love my country.
That means that sprinter is going to be... He's going to be right, because can't call themselves world champs if you ain't winning nothing. I mean, they're at least going to be in fourth this year.
Yes.
From seventh up at previous.
Yes. So they've already improved.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think basketball, the best player on the floor matters, and when the best player on the floor can make the guys around him better, like SGA does, because you know who's played really good basketball? I've complained about the guy. I think a lot of it's BS, but I'm sorry. Dylan Brooks has played damn good basketball.
Fuck him.
I get that, and everyone's going to say that, but honestly, he's hitting shots. He's hustling his ass off on defense. He has accepted that his persona from being the villain, like he's gone by Dylan the villain the whole time. They boo him every time he touches the ball. Like, he's accepted that. He said, screw it, if that's who I'm going to be. And I really think that, because when he came to the NBA, he wasn't that kind of guy.
No,
he was just a hard-nosed defending guy. Yeah. I think that he was kind of told that, hey, you see what Draymond Green did to make himself that level of player? He's not the passer that Draymond was or anything like that, or even the rebounder. But I think his agent pretty much told him, like, if you want to make millions in this league, you can't just be a 3-and-D guy, because there's tons of those. You need to be a name 3-and-D guy. I think that's what got him as much money as he did with the Rockets.
That's probably true.
That's
probably true.
I think part of it is that persona is what he needed to be. And so he's going, at this point, he has no option. It's just buy into it and be the guy. Like, be the guy everybody hates.
Yeah.
Someone's going to have to hate him. Why not be me?
Yeah,
and carve out a successful career making good money doing it.
That is true.
So, I don't know. He's played well. Lou Dort's playing well. You've got Kelly Olynyk's another NBA guy. He's playing well. So, yeah, I'm going to go Canada wins it.
I mean, I think so too. Like, just from some of the things that you have previously said and that we've talked about, like, they just have a better setup of everything compared to everyone else. And the U.S. is just kind of, they look good, but man, could they get past Germany?
Yeah, and
that's going to be the big thing. Like, I hope they can. I'm sure. I believe it's going to
Schroeder
be between
has plenty
Canada
of FIBA experience.
Yeah, I think it's going to be between Canada and U.S., but it's hard not to look at a team that's undefeated and go,
and
the Mavericks is U.S., are they going to be able to hang with Germany?
And I think the U.S. runs into the issue of none of their alphas have been willing to play second fiddle. And there's not a clear-cut alpha because, yes, Anthony Edwards has the most upside of anybody on that basketball team.
Yeah.
But Anthony Edwards is essentially a Kobe and Michael kind of player. I get buckets. And he's a lot of ISO ball. That takes Jalen Brunson out of the game, who's a very good basketball player, but he's a guy that getting him the ball and with him help make his teammates around him better. That's taking that they already moved Brandon Ingram out of the starting lineup because Ingram did not play well with him. Josh Hart has to be in your starting lineup. Josh Hart is a very good NBA role player. Josh Hart is dependent on as a big man on this team, basically, as a rebounding presence. Because you're running out Paulo Banchero at the 5 sometimes. Jaren Jackson Jr., great player, defends the middle well. He's going to be good for that. But he doesn't bring an offensive game, and it's an elite and a style of play that's harder to score in. Like, Austin Reeves has had ups and downs. He's been the most popular player in FIBA at the event. Like, everyone gets excited when Austin Reeves comes out. He's like the most popular person in Manila right now.
Wow.
So, I don't know. I think it comes down to that, and I'm going to... If the U.S. can't spread the ball as a team, they might not even get by Germany. But Germany's going to have the same problem. Dennis Schroeder just went to 26 shots and damn near lost to Latvia. And Latvia didn't even have Kristaps Porzingis playing. Like, he's just there watching. So, yeah, it'll be fun. I think these games start tomorrow morning.
David Hasselhoff out in watching too?
I don't know if Hasselhoff was there. I didn't watch that game. That game started at like 6 o'clock.
Because he's like massive in Germany.
Oh, yeah, he's German.
Like, oh, I know, but he's like massive.
Oh, yeah. He's seen as like a cult following. So, but other than that, I mean, silly sports talk to drop is that the first time in our lives there's a MLS player on the Ballon d'Or bracket or list.
Oh, okay.
Ballon d'Or is the award that goes to the top soccer player in the world. I'll let y'all guess who's on it.
I wonder.
Yeah, wonder. Really hard.
I wonder who that is.
There's other guys on that list, like the kid from PSG that turned down all the money, Mbappe. There's everyone that's on this list is playing for PSG, Manchester United, Manchester City, like all your big name countries and all that. And then there's Inter Miami. Now he played for PSG and he won a goal. He won the World Cup this summer, was that last year already?
I think it was.
It was already last year. So,
yeah.
But it also tells you that he's still at 36 years old, 37 years old, good enough to be that level of player in the eyes of the world of soccer.
Oh, yeah.
So when the ticket prices ever come down to earth, I can't say that I'm not going to try like hell to go watch him play.
Yeah, they're not ever going to come back.
I don't think they're coming down
while he's playing.
I think he's like you said, David Hasselhoff is, like, he's too big of a following.
Yeah.
Like, so. Teams are going to start moving games to. I stand by the fact that FC Dallas missed out on a huge opportunity by not playing the game in the Jerry World. When they had that Gold Cup matchup or that little league tournament, and they were here in Dallas and they played in Miami, screw that. Why didn't you call Jerry? Jerry, we'll do a 50-50 revenue split on the tickets because that would have still sold more tickets than the stadium at the Ford. Then freaking Jerry would have been like, I'll have the field ready in an hour.
Unless there was something already that was going on.
Unless there was something conflicting. But unless it was like a Taylor Swift concert, I don't think that you couldn't move it to the other place.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Taylor Swift, what's that? Jason or Stapleton. I mean, some of those big namers that are at the top of the charts. Chris Stapleton. What's his name? What's the one that rap sings? Morgan Wallen. Like, honestly, there's some names that could have been it, but like, I'd say there's plenty of acts that I'm kicking out to make that much money. So,
well, since you're kind of on this subject, talking about a little bit of pop culture here, last week I talked about a TV show that started on Netflix, or was going to start on Netflix the next day. I watched it, and I finished it on Saturday, and then my girlfriend wanted to watch it, so we watched it again. And then I started watching the anime that's also on Netflix, because it's amazing.
I heard it was really good. I walked in the room as the last episode was ending. And so my roommates are big into that, and they said that it was really good. They really enjoyed it. My kids are gonna watch it now. I had to have them watch it so that they could approve that my son was allowed to watch it.
Okay.
So
yeah, makes sense.
He's gonna. Now I'm sure my son's gonna watch it, and I'll hear all about it from him. But
amazing, dude.
Is it? I've heard.
Oh my god, I was like everything in me. Like you saw how excited I was last week. Like everything in me was, this has to be good, because if not, like you're going to ruin a huge part. And what I love, so because I've never watched the anime, I knew about it. I've heard a lot about it.
I'd actually heard of it, but I'd never seen it either.
And then when I watched the TV show, I was kind of flipping through Netflix, and then I noticed that they had the anime, and I was like, well, I want to watch the anime now. So I started watching it, and it was actually really cool. So I've only made it through technically in a show. Where I'm at in the anime is probably like episode 3, maybe, of where I'm at on the anime.
Yeah.
And like you could literally see like all these things that they threw in the movie or in the show that are from the anime that you're really going, that's awesome. Like you see it shot for shot.
That's good.
And then you can see the different things that they changed to make it fit better for like a live action show.
Okay.
But they stayed very true to the source.
And that's what I heard, was that it stayed very true. They got a lot. You couldn't have asked for a better depiction of getting in the details. I heard.
It was amazing.
I made a joke when my friend asked me what was missing. I said, well, it's obviously the cartoon drawn boobies, because every animated Asian cartoon has massive women's boobies coming out. But they laughed, and so I guess I'm gonna have to give it a shot. But I don't know that I could get behind the anime one. I think I could do the live action. At least give it a shot. It's only 8 episodes.
It's oh my god, dude, it's so good. Like I'll watch it a third time.
Oh my!
Not only that, but by the way, there's another manga show coming out, or not coming out, but season 2 of. Oh my goodness! It's on Netflix. Yeah, we're going to talk about the fact that Ahsoka is going to be having their episode 5 actually viewed in movie theaters.
Okay.
So episode 4 just came out Tuesday, and I just watched it today, and it was amazing.
Was it? Okay.
Oh, well, today's Wednesday.
I went to start it, and then I was I gotta
great.
watch Clone Wars, and I just haven't had time to watch.
No, you don't really have to watch Clone Wars.
I don't?
Watch Rebels.
Oh, Rebels. Okay, my bad. I got mixed up.
Clone Wars is way too long.
Gotcha.
There's a ton of that. Rebels is only like 4 or 5 seasons.
Okay.
And there is not near as many episodes. But and that's only just so you can kind of understand some of the stuff that they're bringing out.
Yeah.
Because it's not actually like having to watch that to understand, because it pretty much explains it. But while you're watching it, like you're kind of going back to these days of like, oh, I remember that. So they're throwing these little bones to you of people that loved watching Rebels, and all of a sudden like you're getting all this stuff into it.
All right.
And like it's actually really good, and I'm trying to figure out what that one show was, because it's a very popular show on Netflix. And let me look at replies here real quick.
Trying to find it.
Yeah. So Arcane.
Okay.
I don't know if you watched Arcane season 1.
I have not.
On Netflix. Okay, you have to watch that, because like it's I mean it's an anime, but like, so this is what it looks like.
Okay.
Like it's not your typical anime. Like it's like a high def. Like it looks really, and it's amazing. Okay. Like 5 minutes into it, you're going to want to watch the entire thing that night. Like it's really good.
I actually will do that, and then I won't sleep.
Yeah.
And
like I loved it, and that was technically the first anime that I've watched.
Okay.
And it was on Netflix. I think last year, the year before, maybe it was 21, 22, somewhere around in there. And I watched it, and I was like, dude, this is really good. Like I like anime now. And then I started watching other anime. I was like, no, I don't. I like that anime.
I like that show. That's hilarious.
But it's amazing, and season 2 is going to be coming out, but it's going to be coming out in winter of 2024.
Oh, so we've got.
So yeah,
plenty of time.
you got
Okay.
plenty of time to catch up on it and watch it. Matter of fact, I may end up watching that again too, because I just finished watching Community again. But other than that, that's all I have.
Yeah, I think we've got about a month until Loki season 2 drops, and
Yeah.
then you start. Then the Marvels comes out shortly after that, so you start
We got
getting
a bunch of stuff.
a bunch of that stuff's coming. We'll start really diving into that stuff more here in the future. I think. Other than that, everyone have a good time. Who you got tomorrow night? Last thing of the day. You going Detroit or Cleveland or KC?
Ooh.
It's in
No
Kansas
Kelsey.
City.
No Kelsey.
Possibly
No Chris
Kelsey.
Jones.
No Chris Jones.
Oh,
Lions
ooh.
are at full strength.
I'm gonna take the Lions.
So I wouldn't be shocked by the upset at all. I'm going to say that they ride the emotion because it very rarely happens that the ring revealing
actually,
team doesn't
hold on.
win.
Hold on. Let me say that. I'm gonna take Mahomes because Mahomes has got like 18 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, is undefeated on week 1 games.
That and I need Sky Moore to go off because I'm thinking about trading him in a dynasty league and I need to up his value.
I don't think Sky Moore. We are talking about who's going to be good there.
Which one, Ross? I love Ross too. He can go off too. I have him on the same league's bench.
Oh, okay.
So, all right. Well, take it easy, guys.